Good afternoon. This is Veterans Talk. It ain't nothing but a thing, but it's a thing we want you tuned into every Saturday afternoon. I'm Elson McGee, your host, and I'm here today doing the same thing I've been trying to do ever since we started the show. Make sense out of a senseless situation called the plight of veterans in the USA, and the USA with the plight of veterans. I am excited about some things, and I am disheartened about some things, but I'm calling on veterans throughout the state of Georgia right now, over 700,000 of us, to start thinking about voting 2023. 2023. We can't wait to 2024 because it might not get the vote no more. Veterans Talk, that's what we're doing in a way that we haven't done it before, because it's necessary that we have this conversation about the plight of veterans in the USA, and the USA with the plight of veterans. Government, which we know how it is supposed to function because we function in one of the best parts of the federal government, the U.S. military. And I want to start off the show today by acknowledging and saluting all of the young people that's serving in the U.S. military across all around the world today. In the United States and every country on planet Earth, we got a service member. And we just want to shout out to their families to be encouraged because they are doing a noble deed serving us in the U.S. military, which is more than a war machine. It is the first responder to natural disasters around the world, around the planet. We just want to thank all these young people, Navy, Army, Marines, Coast Guard, and Air Force. And I want to shout out to all these young inductees that just went into the military. You know, we just finished another cycle of graduation in America, and we got all young people going into the military, you know, for the first time, right out of high school, some of them, and some of them right out of college, going to do a noble deed. And we want to be an encouragement to them because it is the best way to go when you don't know where you want to go to the U.S. military. It has opportunities that you will never forget and that will make you a better life in the future. Now, while we waiting on my road dog, Tony, we want to talk about some things that really is encouraging for me right now, is that the Congress has finally, you know, taken up a bill that will undo an injustice that I have recognized ever since I first started doing claims and helping veterans get their benefits in 1975. When I learned that U.S. military retirees, you know, people that decide to do, and I want to say my grandson, Freeman Harris, is Sergeant Freeman Harris now, is doing that, making a life career out of serving in our U.S. military. But, you know, up until this very day, right now, that is the most discriminated group of soldiers ever. You serve 20 years in the military and incur a disability. As a result of that same service, they offset your retirement to pay you for the benefit. Woo! Do I need to say that again? I need to say it again in the way you understand it. If you get a disability, they take away some of your retirement pay. That don't make no sense to me whatsoever. You know, I've seen it over and over again. We've been able to overcome it with the piecemeal legislation that's there that would allow it to happen if you incurred your disability in a war zone, where a lot of people incur disabilities and never get to war. So we think that's so unfair, and we're thanking Congress right now for taking up this issue after all of this time. They need to come up with a bill. The House and the Senate need to agree upon something that's going to right this injustice against military retirees. Now, I was not a retiree, you know, I was a draftee. I got my 2 years in, I got away from Uncle Sam, you know, got to work at this VA to watch veterans come for services, and ooh-wee, that was a trip. I was medically retired from VA in 2002, I forgot how long it's been. But it's been a time that we look back at what has happened. Come on, Tony, my road dog is here. So we was at a monthly membership meeting today, and he had to get away from them for a minute. I know, you know. But no, I ain't gonna talk about our members like that. We went in there talking pretty mean to them because I want them to file for benefits. What is happening with the benefit grid and at VA is really criminal. Really, they got so many incompetents up there trying to evaluate and adjudicate your claims until it's putting it in a section. And even with this new system now, they're falling behind. They're getting a backlog. And the other thing, you know, the employees are overworked that's there because we don't have enough employees to serve the veterans that they need to be serving. You know, and this is a crying shame. We getting a lot of people at the VA that is, you know, that are not natural born Americans, and I don't have any problem with immigrants. But if they don't understand the language and the situation set up at the VA, and they telling veterans they're there to help them and they're misleading them, we need some help. Veterans need help. You need to go to the VA and understand what you are there for. You need somebody that can understand and why you're there and respond to you on the level that you come into the VA looking for help. One of the biggest problems that we have in our community today, to me, is suicides. You know, I mean, when you hear of veterans going to the VA and committing suicide, that's tragic. I mean, it's tragic to think about 17 families every day lose a loved one to suicide that have served in the U.S. military. And these are young folks. You know, these are not all old people, Tony.
Nope.
There's some young people, man. And, you know, it really breaks my heart because, you know, we're dealing with the memorial, and I'm just wheeling from the fact that I turned 21 in Vietnam myself, but a lot of the people that we are honoring never made it to be 21.
That's true.
So it's mind-boggling now that we're looking at these young people that went into the military and incurred some traumatic experience that caused them not to be able to adapt in a way that they could get the help that they need, and you know they wind up committing suicide.
That's a real challenging situation, but it's not just with the military.
Yes.
It's with the community also. You know, true enough, we're focusing on those people that we're familiar with that are in the military, mm-hmm. but it is a systemic health situation that's going on in our country. And for some reason, the medical system is, and I'm going to use the term, choosing not to diagnose and treat these people the way they should be treated.
Yes, yeah. And you know you're so right, Tony. Because you know I look at one the Callison case. Mm-hmm. You know, a young man, his mother probably watching now, went to the VA for help after getting out of the military. Didn't never get it. They couldn't get it. But she had to witness her son struggle before he actually committed suicide. Witnessing this, and as a loved one, as a mother, with no tools, no resources to help her address this problem before he committed suicide. Because he didn't just come home and go right out and commit suicide.
Right. Yeah.
He came home and tried to readjust back to society, try to find his way, and with obviously having had a undiagnosed mental illness when he came out. So the transition was traumatic. It's traumatic if you don't have an ailment.
Yes.
You know, so he had some traumatic experience in the military and was going to the VA to deal with it and just wasn't getting the help that he needed and gave up, you know. And this is something that bothers me badly because I know that my mom wrestled with me when I first got home because I was suffering from PTSD and didn't know it, didn't have any clue that. Well, I got shrapnel wounds, you know, in Vietnam, but the guy next to me got shrapnel wounds, and shrapnel killed him and left part of his brains in my face. So at 21, that was kind of a lot to adapt to under the military's mystique that they trained us to have. Mm-hmm. I couldn't adjust to the fact that, well, I survived. Somebody that was next to me didn't survive, so I got survivor guilt. Then I'm traumatized.
Yeah.
And I can't see it, but my mom sees it right away. You know, with the nightmares and the behavior. She want to know what's wrong with you, son. I can't tell her.
Yeah.
I can't tell her, and she can't tell me, but she knew something was wrong enough to say, you need to go to the VA. The VA was not equipped to help me at that time. They were not equipped. They just, didn't see nothing wrong with me. And I was suffering, and the suffering got worse. It was just fortunate that I didn't commit suicide. I was doing things that were suicidal, but I didn't commit suicide, and was able to survive by the grace of God to be a messenger about this issue. And it bothers me when I see the government, VA, responding to this suicide stuff by giving the state of Georgia $700,000 to work and the state of Georgia give it to Kennesaw University. I love Kennesaw. I think it's a great school. To do a study. The house is on fire, Tony.
Yes.
I mean, the study, let's put the fire out, then we do the study. Maybe we can do a study then. But right now, I think the families need to be empowered, like emergency type empowerment going on in the families. So that these mothers and fathers and sisters and brothers that see their loved ones struggling with something that they brought home from the military, they can reach out to people in the community to help. They're not empowered to do that.
The challenge that I'm seeing with this is that this is not a new problem.
No.
We were in the military in the 60s and 70s when all of this was occurring. Now, they were aware that they may not have been able to diagnose it and figure out but they were aware that something was going on with the personnel.
Well, the personnel coming out
of the military.
And they set up what they call, in hazardous duty areas, they set up counseling to greet the military personnel. But if you got a mental problem, you ain't able to be able to.
Right.
You need to wait till that. You need to get that person with his family.
Right.
Who finna deal with him, and get him with care in the community. Who's finna deal with him, and get them into mental health clinics right away.
One of the challenges that the military and what the country was dealing with was during that era. There were mental hospitals that people were committed to. And they didn't have the best of records for dealing with people with mental problems. And so as a result, they couldn't handle what was going on. But the interesting thing about this is the military saw this happening with their personnel. And for some reason, they didn't react in a timely manner.
Well, I visited the website, the 93rd evac, which was the military hospital that was created to receive the wounded and dead from conflicts that we in. General Patton visited the hospital, and he was a young inductee there suffering from PTSD. Patton slapped him and drew his gun and called him a coward. So it was the military hierarchy that caused them not to want to look into this problem for too long. Just like it was the military hierarchy that didn't want to deal with integration.
Exactly.
And which made it really difficult for all branches of the military to control racism on a better level than they did. But I mean, they did much better than the greater society. But they still had problems. And we see those problems manifesting when you look at General Flynn and his brother.
Yes.
And calling for a white nation. They done had brilliant military careers. So how did the men under them relate to them?
Yes.
We have to think about that and see how that plays out into all these other things with the Plight of veterans.
We saw part of that play out on January 6th. It was those people in the military who had authority and rank that were making some, what we know now, were horrible decisions about how to handle a person who is in power and demonstrating that power in a negative way toward the country. And yet they stood by and watched it happen. That is one of the challenges that I had with the military at that time. And even now, you know, you find, unfortunately, a lot of the personnel that are purchasing these war weapons and putting them on the street are former military. And they, you know, not they, we know. We all know the damage that these will do, but for some reason, that attitude has permeated that portion of the United States community.
And it's growing.
Yes.
The problem, what I'm saying is that developed out of that, Tony, they got everybody scared of everybody. So everybody walking around packing now, and you got shootouts like you in the old West.
Yeah.
You know, in Atlanta, about a couple of weeks ago, 3 young men was in a shootout. 2 of them got killed. That's a shootout. Now, a shootout. You know, we this is Veterans Talk. It's a thing we want you to talk to, and you can call in and talk about it. Bring in your conversation at 470-251-4647. 470-251-4647. Join the conversation because it's something that affects the whole community.
Yes.
It's not just. You know, it's not just that veteran that commits suicide, but his family and his friends and the community. What kind of feeling it leaves them with feeling about the military itself and the military experience?
Yeah.
So it undermines the desire to serve. You know, it makes it undesirable plight to take in life.
Exactly. You know, it was one of those things where when we served, we were proud to serve.
Proud.
You know, we were proud for our experience in the military. And so we wanted to bring that back into the community. But now looking at this new generation that is growing up with the proliferation of war weapons. I like your term war, because that's what they are.
Yeah,
they are not for the common use. The proliferation of war weapons within the community, we're losing great, productive, possibly even exceptional young men to gun violence. You know, decisions that they are making now that resulted in them losing their lives instead of being a productive side, you know, part of society.
And the bad part that as we see this happening, we see it encouraged by the music and entertainment industry. You know, they make it like, well, it's okay. It's like a badge of honor. You know, it creates a certain bravo in the individuals that's doing this. But what they need to look at, in every instance of violence, it's like killing 2 birds with 1 stone.
Right. Yeah.
One going to the graveyard, nothing going to the prison.
Exactly.
So nothing positive is served at all with gun violence. And we sit back and act like we don't know how to address this issue. To address it with the vote.
Yes. And the thing about addressing it with the vote is we know who those people are that are supporting these kind of laws and regulations in our country.
They bold with it.
Yes.
They bold with it.
They have no fear in making those types of statements, being, as you say, being bold, because they know their career is secure.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the bad part about it, because they got all of us scared of each other.
Yeah.
We embrace them, and then you know, rather than not cooperating with them, we cooperate with them to buy a gun.
Yeah.
You got more guns in America now than you got people.
Yeah.
You see, because some people got multiple guns.
Yes.
You know, they got a whole arsenal of weapons. Why? They scared of their neighbor.
Yeah.
This is sad. This is what we're talking about, because we need to talk about it, because we need to do something about it.
Right.
Our communities is worse than a war zone now. You know, you got kids being killed in school, people being killed in the church, in the grocery store, in the clubs, wherever you go, and just walking down the street.
Yeah, yeah. Driving down the street, driving down the interstate, completely minding your business, and you get hit by a stray bullet. You know.
And you know, I was looking at the weather forecast for the 4th of July, and I was saying to myself, I hope it rains so hard they can't shoot. they can't do no fireworks.
Right, really.
Because we got mental illnesses in our community that's so perverse that during these celebrations, these people are shooting real guns in the air.
Yeah.
And the projectiles got to come down somewhere.
Yeah.
Anytime you shoot a gun and you ain't shoot it in the ground, that projectile has got to find a target somewhere.
Exactly.
And we need to have our people become more conscious of this, and really think about, you know, gun violence within their own families. You know, I knew Tony, and I hate like the story you tell. You know, your daddy had the gun, but you wasn't gonna go near it. You know, we need to have that kind of teaching in the homes again.
Yeah. Right
now, the teaching in the home is the kid go get the gun, you know, because it's available for them, and they killed one of their siblings.
Yes. Yes.
You know, I mean, babies getting killed with the gun in the house because it's loaded and it's laying around where they can put their hands on it. We got to become more responsible citizens. And that's what we were talking about at the meeting today. Veterans filing for their benefits and understanding that benefit grid will make them file more, right? Make them understand that, okay, the way the VA operates is there to take care of you, but if you got a rating 10 years ago and you ain't filed for increase, then the assumption is that you gotten better.
Yeah.
So they filed for a decrease. Then, they don't take my money. You didn't do what you had to do when you had it. You know, you didn't put no protection on it. You didn't pursue it the way you got the benefit, and you stopped going to the doctor.
Yeah.
You know, you stop going. You don't go to the doctor no more. You ain't got well because you get a check every month. The check don't make you well.
No. It just provides you with funds to go and get well.
Yeah, but and to take care of you and your family while you're going through this.
And the community.
Yeah. So we got to become more responsible. That's why we're delving into this conversation again about the plight of veterans in the USA. I'm disheartened when I think about, you know, I go to Fort McPherson on a regular basis, right? That's where I was discharged from. 27 car company. On the front of Fort McPherson, there was about 8 barracks, right? That I used to be in every day. When I was discharged from Fort Mac, they closed the Fort McPherson, but they didn't knock down the barracks. All them barracks are still there.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out what kind of mentality that we have in government that won't use those barracks to house people that are homeless.
Yes.
They're just sitting there, right? The building, right? I mean, the water's still on.
Right.
You know, they don't take a click and get the lights on, and they keep the place maintained with tax dollars.
Yes.
But they won't use the buildings for humankind. We need to look at how we vote this year. Not 2024, 2023. We got a lot of local elections coming up. We need to start vetting these politicians that running for office. Now, I'm going to tell you something, Tony. Have you noticed this? We don't really hear from the politicians in our community till it get close to election time.
Exactly.
Then they start coming out. They got all kind of community activities going on. But when they in that service period, you can't get them.
Yep.
You can't even get them to answer email or a phone call. You know, so we need to vet some of these people that we are voting for, because once they get in office, they don't do what we need them to do. Therefore, government is not working for us.
Yes.
It's not working for us because we are electing people just because of the color of their skin. And I think that's the dumbest thing we could be doing right now. You know, really.
Yeah.
Because we need to look at some of these people we done elected and say, oh my God, what did we do with that?
Yes.
Because they ain't did nothing but hold office and draw a check.
Yeah.
You know, and dodge me. Because, you know, we knock on the door. We're going to go see what they're doing. So, now, getting to the memorial, Tony, you know, we was, got this approval, and I think a lot of people want to know what's next. Well, really, let me explain this process. The city council has to vote on the budget first. You know, they're the one that put the budget together. They get all this information put together. They get the math stuff and all that stuff and all the departments head and stuff, and they put the budget together. And they vote on the items that's going to be in the budget for the city. On the 20th of June, they voted to put our project in the city budget. And it's in the budget. It's in there. But now, the final straw is with the mayor. The mayor has to sign off on the budget. What they do, he go down to what the city council has approved, and either he just sign off on it or he reject it. So right now, our project is in the mayor's hand. It's in the mayor's hand. The city council done approved it. The mayor just got to sign off on it, then we fund it.
Yeah.
We fund it. So I want everybody to know that's the way the process works. And you can call him out.
Yes.
You can call him. You know, pick up the phone, call him. I tell you what, blow his phone up. Let him know you appreciate him signing this budget with this allocation for the Sons of Atlanta, because it is for our community, and it's going to wake up our community in a way that I don't think they've been awakened yet, Tony. This memorial is a call to unity, because we got 9 cities that ain't never did nothing together.
Really? Yeah.
Never did anything together. All of them have a stake in this memorial. And we're going to pull them together in Piedmont Park.
Yeah.
And we're going to pull them together in our community and address these problems that we're having in the community in honor of these sons that never made it back home alive. You know, we're gonna help clean up their communities by putting help centers and community centers and in information in the libraries that going to empower our community to seek and have a better quality of life for all.
Yeah.
You know, this in the name of those that have paid the ultimate price for the freedoms that we got. We got the freedom to do this. And we got people that's trying to take this freedom away from us because we won't go to the poll and vote.
But, you know, I can't, other than the memorial, I can't think of a better way to honor those young men than by the memorial, but then setting up these community centers and libraries so that we can help the new generation of young men that every May and June graduate from high school and some even from college that go into the military.
Right to the military.
You know, I'll say this, and I said it before, when I went into the military, I didn't have all the information of what my benefits were. I found out some of them once I was in the military, but I found out more once I was out.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know that, you know, all of this stuff was just, you know, then, and so I benefited from it. But we have a generation of young men and women.
And women.
We got to include the women because they're a major part of the military.
Now.
They were then and even now, you know, of finding out what the benefits are of being a veteran in the United States military.
Yes. And if we don't arm them with knowledge, they're going to come out the same way we came out, not knowing what the VA is supposed to be doing for them.
Exactly.
You know, I know guys, man, that set up and let the education benefits expire.
Yeah.
It just expired. It's free money.
Yes.
I was going to every school I could get to. Every time they turn around, I was in school.
Yeah.
You know, I went to school so much they tell you done used up all yours. you done got your part, so you can stop. You can stop. But one of the things that happened, and I run into it right now, people will say, "Well, I didn't go out of the country, so I ain't got no nothing." If you stayed all your experience in one place, you could still qualify for a disability. Let me try to explain this to you. If you was in the military, and during the time you was in the military, you develop diabetes, right?
Yeah.
Or you develop hypertension. That's during your military experience. Now you at Fort Max or Fort Gore and you ain't left nowhere. That becomes a disability when you get out.
Yep.
You know, because it started in the military.
Yes.
And see, people need to understand that you can get a disability in the military if you don't go but one post.
Yeah.
If you develop COPD, you know, you develop anything during that military experience, you can get a disability for it.
You know, a lot of us didn't realize when we went into the military, we were healthy young men.
Healthy. And they wouldn't accept you unless they got what they call a roster that checks you out.
Yes.
Up and down.
Yes. Yeah, you were
Going
totally evaluated before you raise your hand.
And if you got some defect that they feel that you can't perform the military duties, they discharge you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah, we would have. Those of us who went in at the building there at Sears, if we had gone in and they found a problem, we'd have been turned around and said, "Man, you don't qualify for military service because you have these particular challenges."
Yes.
You know. So as a result, once we went in, now they're responsible for our health care.
Yeah, they're responsible for that.
And so as a result, anything, as you said, developed during our time in the military is a result of military service.
It's a result of military service. Because what people don't know, when you're in the military, even when you're on vacation or on leave, you still under orders, under duty. They can call you to come back from that leave the hour you get home. The same day you get home, they can tell you finna go to Germany. You just came out of Okinawa or somewhere.
Exactly.
That's the sacrifice you make when we say that all gave some, but some gave all. That's what we're talking about. More people, Tony, more people died since Vietnam because of conditions that developed while they was in Vietnam than those that were killed in war.
Exactly.
Killed in the war itself.
Yeah.
So we need to make sure that the families understand this. Like I do it in a minute. I tell your wife, your mama, your sister, your son. I tell them, you know, because we too laid back. We'll get sick. We have something going on. We got to go to work. Because we got to take care of that family.
Yep.
That same family that the military done told you they'll help you take care of if you got one of these conditions that's happened to you in the military, and you won't go get it. You'll go let yourself fall down where you can't do nothing, and then you wind up they giving you a pension or a Social Security stuff, which ain't half of what you deserve, and it ain't gonna take care of your family. You know, it's time for veterans to stop being so laid back, get their benefits, so that we can have a better quality of life in our communities. Now I'm gonna give you, for example, I live in a community right up here off of Cleveland Avenue. All the businesses in my community are owned by somebody that don't live in the community.
Exactly. Yeah.
So when they close their stores at night, they take my money to their neighborhood. And that neighborhood look bad my neighborhood because they taking my resources to that neighborhood. They don't have any sense of give back to the community where they got their funding from. Matter of fact, they, to me, and some of them appear to be antagonistic towards us. You know, really antagonistic.
And condescending.
Yes. They got a condescending attitude toward us. But you got this with any veteran that finished one tour of good military service, they can get a business. The VA will give you up to $250,000 to start a business. You can use your VA, your veteran benefits to get a job, get ahead in the job market. You can buy a house with no money down.
Exactly.
Why don't we get these benefits for our community? We got veterans up and down here. I've talked to some of them living in extended care because the money they get ain't enough to have an apartment.
Right.
And rent so high, it ain't funny in here. In the city of Atlanta right now, a one-bedroom apartment gonna cost you $1,200.
Yeah. And that's the low end.
That's the low end.
Yes.
That's the low end. So we got to be able to have these conversations that we're having here every Saturday. And I know people listening, you can call in and talk. You can call in and tell us what we're missing. Because we got to get this conversation going on in our community so we can do something about it. One of the things that Dr. King showed us, if we stop cooperating with the oppressor, they can no longer oppress us.
Exactly.
Mayor Rosa Parks closed the bus company down.
Yeah, yeah.
She put it out of business.
A older black woman.
Put it out of business.
Yes, yes.
Because when they would sit her down, she stood up and booked. And what Dr. King said was like, ain't nobody gonna ride the bus.
Yeah.
Don't give them no business. And what happened to the bus company? It failed. It went out of business. It didn't have no customers. We got the power through our non-cooperation and through our votes to have a better community. We need to take action for that right now, because things have gotten so bad that these people don't recognize what the factories, the kind of stuff that they're doing in the community is causing global warming.
Oh, yes.
In Texas today, it's the hottest spot on the planet that people are dying from heat exhaustion.
Yeah.
And the politicians won't do nothing about it. They're arguing, debating about whether, is it real or is it not real?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. 110 degrees in Texas? You know, that's killing seniors, killing babies, killing pregnant women.
Yeah.
We need to take responsibility for our own plight. We got to. We got to. Tony, I don't know how many times we've been rejected.
Really?
But we kept going.
Yes.
We kept knocking on doors, we kept going, then taking photo ops with them, and we know they wasn't gonna do nothing. But they had to do something, because we wouldn't stop.
We believed. We totally believed in the project. It was we were totally dedicated to it. And so when we got those rejections, those were just rejected. They're rejecting it, but I'm not rejecting it. I'm saying we're pushing forward.
We're going forward.
And it was one of those things where at some point we're going to galvanize those people who are for it, and we're going to push forward, and that's what has happened.
That's what happened.
It took them a while, and we understand.
Yeah, it took a while.
Yeah,
and it's still ain't over. We just showing we got a milestone. It had never been to the point where it's in the mayor's hand now.
Yeah,
and the mayor was elected.
Yeah,
and the mayor's listening.
Yeah.
And the mayor's gonna do it.
Yeah.
And the mayor's gonna do it. We're gonna be proud of this young man, because I think that with his school, Georgia Tech, we're gonna get them to do this app for the memorial. We're gonna call them next week and see whether they want to do this app.
And you know he's from our community, Adamsville area.
He's from Adamsville. That's my community.
That's my community too.
So we know that he's finna sign off on this budget as it was voted through, and we're gonna be able to get in Piedmont Park, one of the most visited parks in the city of Atlanta, probably in the state, because it has activities all the time for community.
I remember when we originally considered Piedmont Park, and we were looking at an area, what they call the meadow, in that general area, and the park rejected our suggested area and moved us to what they consider their front lawn, which is a priority area, because they were aware that all the events that happened in that park, our location would have been a challenge for those people just coming to visit the memorial when a major event was happening. But they selected a location that is always available and accessible to the public.
And tell me what I like about the memorial, you can walk up to it 24/7.
Exactly.
You can go there with a group, or you can go there by yourself.
Yeah.
And just enjoy the moment, enjoy the feeling of the spirit of these young men. The spirit of service and duty that they had is, I was there. I was just blessed not to be there on the wall. But I'm telling everybody that I served with some of these young folks and never seen anything like it. The sense of duty and service that they exhibited, we need to exhibit in our communities today in their name, in their honor. Because if we do that, we're going to have a better community.
Exactly.
We're going to have a much better community than we got now. We're going to be able to get all this violence out of the community. We're going to be able to get peace back in the community. We're going to be able to get prosperity back in the community.
Yeah.
Because it is enough for everybody. This is a big country. You know, I mean, with all the housing and stuff, congregation that's taking place in Metro Atlanta now, when you get outside, I went down to Morrow in Union City this week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, plenty of land.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Plenty stuff that go around. And we allowing them to concentrate us in cities and raise the price of property so high that most of us can't afford it.
Exactly.
That's all can be corrected with the vote.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
With the vote. We still got the power, we still got the rights up under the Constitution of these United States to make major changes, and to, no matter what the Supreme Court just did.
Yes.
We still can vote people in the office that can go in there and legislate that away. They can legislate away. They can enact laws. That's the Constitution.
Yeah.
That will give affirmative action. They can enact laws that make that gives every woman the right to medical care. You know, and the decision over her own body.
Exactly.
You know, what she should have. Even though I'm definitely against abortion, I come out and tell everybody that. But I don't have a right to tell a woman what to do with her body. That's between her and the mighty.
Right.
You know, we need to leave it there because, see, these judgments that we're making are causing us to be judged. I believe that the heat in Texas is a God sent heat.
Yes. Yes.
You know, I believe the storms that are tearing up places that are God sent storms. Yeah. And they hit where they want to hit.
Yeah. Yep.
And we need to be mindful of it. You know, I've been in a predicament, Tony, where I shouldn't be here.
Yeah. Most of us have. Yeah.
I shouldn't be here. And one reality, according to the laws of the land, I should still be doing prison time.
Yeah.
But it was an injustice that was done on me that was corrected through divine order.
Yeah, exactly.
Divine order.
Yes.
See, so no matter how harsh things get sometimes, if we just keep on believing, keep on trying to do the right thing, right will prevail over evil every day. It's going to be some suffering going on because of people following evil leaders, manipulative leaders.
Yes.
And the word tells me not to do that. But you know, if you're not in the word, you might follow evil leader, one that they building a golden image of, and they want you to bow down to them because they ain't made no mistakes ever in their life.
Yeah.
You know, they're perfect.
The challenge I have with some of those leaders that you just described is everybody is aware of the evil that this person has done, yet they're choosing to ignore it, look the other way, or say, well, that's just him. No. You know, it is obvious the power that the person has that operates in the office of President of the United States, and that person should be accountable to the country.
Yes.
You know,
they have to be accountable to the country, but otherwise, he would just change the government where it does what he wanted to do it when he wanted to do it, and no matter what.
And he has distributed, he has displayed some of those talents in his desire to always be in control and to always to hold that office.
Well, see, I'm going to say this. The word tells us that the Antichrist is here.
Yes.
Okay. the Antichrist is here, and you know that kind of influence over people is spiritual. It's demonic.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, anytime you can blind people to their own misdeeds. You know, where you stand up and you call your misdeed a justification for something righteous.
Yeah.
That's the Antichrist. The spirit of the Antichrist is among us, and we must acknowledge it.
Yeah. Yes.
Until we, and I'm calling out all of us that call themselves Christians now. I'm gonna just call us out. we need to follow the word of God and stop following the word of some of these preachers.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because some of these preachers are misleading their flock. And any preacher that's standing up with a candidate or a person that has made a golden image of themselves, or had a golden image made of them, and they saying that they are the...
Okay.
Let me leave that alone.
Yeah.
Let me leave that alone. I might say something I don't need to say. Go ahead, Tony. Go ahead. I'm gonna shut up. I heard my mama say else and don't talk about it. You know?
But one of the things even though the city of Atlanta, of course, is going to fund this memorial, we want the citizens of Atlanta to be a part of this memorial.
Yes.
Here is a perfect opportunity to have your name etched in stone that will be around forever. Everybody knows the stones around, they have been here forever. Here's an opportunity to have your name or any information that relates to you or an organization or your family into that to be permanently displayed in one of Atlanta's one of the state's most visited parks in Georgia. You know, it is not often that we get situations like that where we're honored and we're proud and we can say, my name is here because I chose to put it here because of my service, my desire, my understanding that the challenges that these young men who paid the ultimate price made. I want to be a part of their permanently etched in a monument in Washington, D.C., and here in Georgia and around the country. Now here's an opportunity for me to put my name in a similar situation, etched in stone, to be permanently displayed from now, as far as we know, to the end of time.
Yes.
You know,
to the Teddy Paws up.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. We have an opportunity for generations to follow to say, oh, I have a relative who is etched in stone on that memorial, or I have a relative who purchased a commemorative brick so that they could be a permanent part of that park. You know, and that's for years to come. Long after we've gone and generations later, it will still be here, and it can be recognized and honored.
And you can actually go get a brick today.
Yes.
On the website, www.sonsofatlanta.org. www.sonsofatlanta.org. Go to the website. Purchase a brick. But we want you to look at these young men.
Yeah.
Look at some of the stuff that we've done so far to get to where we're at right now. Look at some of the videos that we've made that talk about the issues we're aware of about racism that we really want you to talk about. We want you to see. Because what we're trying to do, this memorial is a call to unity.
Yeah.
For our community, for veterans, and for our country. To start living out the Constitution that we served upon. You know, I mean, when you read the Constitution of the United States, that's one of the most revered documents I've ever read. And because it points out stuff that our ancestors only dreamed of.
Right, yes.
You know, but they dreamed of us having this freedom, these equal opportunities.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you what, that's one of the things that got so many of these other people mad. We good at taking opportunities and flourishing on. Look at I look at LeBron James. Just get that. Never went to college.
Yeah.
Straight out of high school. In history now, he's at what? More points than anybody.
More points than anybody has ever made. Yes. Yes.
And he's a billionaire already.
Yes, yes.
And he's making schools. He's giving back to his community.
Yeah.
They don't want to see that. They want Kanye West stuff.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stop.
You wouldn't go there.
No, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna let you go on, Tony.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say something like that.
But you know, you're right about that. It is unfortunate that they don't see the good that he has done and how he is encouraging a community.
Well, I think they do see it, and that's a problem with him.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest problem because, listen, I saw this year in the state of Georgia when they put, and I love Herschel Walker now.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. as a football player.
Yeah.
I love it. But as a senator,
Yeah.
they almost got Herschel Walker elected to the Senate to represent us in the state of Georgia. Why?
Yeah, strictly. He had no idea what his responsibilities are and would be. You know, and that's.
And wasn't ready for him either.
Yeah.
Cause so what they were doing, they were setting up where they could tell him how to rule.
Exactly.
Like they doing Clarence Thomas telling him how to rule.
Yep.
You know, he's sitting on the Supreme Court for life, and he up there trying to knock down affirmative action.
Yeah.
He knocked it down.
Yeah, they did. They did.
You know, we're caught up in this situation where we need veterans talk, Tony.
Yeah.
You know, we need these conversations every week because if we don't have them, they not being had.
Right.
I don't hear them in the community. All I hear in the community is cussing and fussing.
Yeah.
All kind of drama, and you know, well, what they done did, I can't do nothing about it, and then you turning on your neighbor.
Yeah.
You got jealousy going on that won't let you love that neighbor as that self. I don't understand that because we got more than we ever had. Really, we got more than we ever had, but we act worse. We act ever worse.
It is almost as if we haven't learned anything from our past. And so as a result of that, we're bound to repeat it. And the challenge with that is you have a group of people, Republican Party, who are ready to take advantage of any shortcomings that we display.
And they keep helping us with it.
Yes.
They help.
Yeah.
They like, I see all these folks up there talking about blacks for Trump. Ain't no blacks for Trump. You say I'm for Trump.
Yeah.
You know, but this is a misprojection of the situation. They're good at misinformation.
Oh, yes.
You know, they say stuff that they know ain't true, but all of a sudden they got a bunch of people saying the same thing.
They following them.
Following them. Mm-hmm. When the word tells us we should follow people that are evil liars. Mm-hmm. The word says the liar is the child of the devil. So why would you want? I mean, I'm just saying what I know.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody say I went to school too much, but you know, sometimes school did teach me so.
Yes.
You know, and look at what I learned in school. The fear, one of the greatest fears of those people in the Republican Party today, is that we're doing so well, and they think we want to replace them.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to share.
Yeah.
The resources of this country. You know, the idea that they are talking about this bill right now about the military retirees, and everybody think that, but where are we gonna get the money to pay for it for? How you ask that question?
Yeah.
When everybody knows you get taxes every day, millions and millions of dollars every day in this country. No store operates without paying taxes. Nobody go in the store without paying taxes. So what are you doing with all this money? You keep raising your salary.
Yeah.
You keep raising your expense account.
Yes.
And you ain't got no problem with that. I don't hear nobody holler. Let's cut some of this expenses that these congressmen get.
Yeah.
You get a $175,000 salary and a $3 million expense account to run your 2 offices.
Right. Yeah.
You don't need no 2 offices. What you doing? No. You don't need one. You don't need one office.
Yeah.
And that office should be in your district.
Yeah. Especially it's in your everything else. We know about Zoom. We know about being able to be in one place and talk to another group in another place at the exact same time. Exactly. You don't have to have those double locations.
Yeah. Because what it is fattening their pockets and doing what they want to do.
Yes.
And this is why they keep running for office. They don't want to leave office, and they'll do anything to stay in office. Donald Trump tried to pull a coup.
Really?
A coup.
Yes.
I don't care what nobody say. Yeah. That was a coup attempt.
That was definitely a coup attempt.
And they keep calling it, and they trying to soft pedal it.
Yeah.
You know, instead of telling what it is. We're not going to be able to deal with it right until we take the facts. That's that. This is Veterans Talk. It ain't nothing but a thing. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. We are on Roku, Status Network, Manifest TV, Lyve TV, and Status Network apps. We want you to tell your neighbors, tell your friends that Veterans Talk is here every Saturday afternoon, trying to talk about the plight of veterans and the plight of the communities. We've had some great guests on there. We're gonna have somebody next week. But we're an organization that's trying to bring people together for the betterment of humankind. Period. You know, there's enough for everybody. We can all get along. We got to start making an effort to do that. Because if we don't, we're gonna destroy each other. We're gonna destroy our country.
And those of us who love this country, even with this many challenges, we still love the country because there are great benefits of being an American citizen. You know, I am just tinkering back to the last subject with Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. I am I am glad to admit that I have benefited from affirmative action. You know, I grew up in an era where things were starting to break for Americans, but we still needed some assistance in getting past some of the barriers that were put up by countries and businesses. And affirmative action was one of those programs that was developed by the federal government to assist people of color and women. You know, that's one of the things that they don't mention an awful lot. But white women benefited tremendously from affirmative action. They were grouped into...
And from the right to vote.
Yeah.
They didn't have the right to vote either.
Right, yeah. All of this was part of that program, and so they benefited also. But I am proud to say that I am a beneficiary of affirmative action and looking forward to encouraging other people and encouraging the government to continue those programs, because there are opportunities that are available to the public that aren't taken advantage of. Yes.
And we keep going.
Yeah.
Next Saturday, back here, same time, same show, doing what we know we got to do. Have this conversation.
Yeah.
Sons of Atlanta coming at you.